Hey, it's your old pal Slim, and this is 70 Millimeter. Finally, a podcast about movies. Each week, I'm joined by famous artist Danny Haas.
The size and girth of those stones? No, not by human hands. There was another civilization on this earth.
And writer-poet Proto.
I need a new job.
Later in this episode, we'll be focusing on Stephen Sommers' The Mummy. Enjoy. Do we need to get into Raising Arizona right now?
Oh,
is this time to reveal that the both of you simultaneously almost watched Raising Arizona with Nicolas Cage and gave it rave reviews? Who wants to start first with this shocking news?
Go ahead, Proto.
I'll say this. I gave it what did I give it? I gave it 4 stars, and the opening of this movie, the first 10 minutes, I was thinking, is this my favorite comedy of all time? It was just hitting all the buttons for me. I was loving it. I had so much fun with the quirkiness of this movie. And in my review, I said it felt like a movie that inspired Wes Anderson with his style. Not like totally, but there's definitely some quirkiness to this that felt very much like Wes Anderson to me. Just the ridiculous characters and the setting, and some of the scenes. I love the robberies scene for the Huggy diapers. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
What an amazing scene.
It's so good.
Yeah, this was so much. I just had so much fun watching this. And it's only an hour and a half. It's like the perfect length. Nick Cage is fantastic. Best hair of, ever. Their relationship unfolding in the beginning. I loved it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. 4 stars as well. It's just funny. I loved, the Holly Hunter, I feel like, to me, was surprisingly so funny. I loved her when I loved how they like slowly build that relationship as she's taking his mugshots.
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious. And this movie has to be funny because it's kidnapping a baby. So you have to make this as lighthearted as you can. But for me, I love John Goodman so much. I think every time he's on scene, he made me laugh. I mean, Nick Cage is fantastic in this as well. But John Goodman, he always gets a good laugh from me. Cinematography is great in this movie. The music's fun. I love that banjo music, which actually reminded me a lot of Catastrophe, the Rob Delaney show. It had that like Wii U banjo outro every time. That's fun. I would recommend this anybody. I'm surprised that we are just now getting around to it, but Nick was brought up in what was Share Month with this movie because of Moonstruck and then the Coens.
Forgot about Share Month.
Stay tuned.
Nick has the same hair in this as he does in Moonstruck too. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly.
The scene with John Goodman where he's putting the gel in his hair.
Oh, it's so gross.
So
whatever.
gross.
It's the pomade by the fistful.
Oh, yeah, the fistful.
I actually have not seen this movie yet. It's on my list.
Okay, we just spelled it for you.
That's okay. It's on my list. One day I'll get to it. Speaking of on the list, we revealed last week before our bonus Shirley episode dropped that we had enough of pushing Proto's picks to the side. The people had spoken. They wanted the healing to happen. Proto alleged to have never picked a movie for this show ever outside of Birth, which Danny pointed out, and that we were going to give Proto the space after Jaws happens next week for the anniversary. Tentatively, we're going to let Proto have his say, choose the next movie after that. And is it time for Proto to reveal his choice after much reflection right now?
It is. I actually have a written statement prepared. So, 1 second.
His intern just handed him a stack of papers.
Dear villagers, it is I, Proto. As you are aware, last week, a host on this show challenged me to pick a movie outright. It is well known that I do not pick the movies, and this was an effort to force my hand and be caught like Catherine Zeta-Jones in the 1999 film Entrapment, also starring Sean Connery. We all saw this, but like the Atreides of Frank Herbert's classic saga Dune, we will not seek to avoid this trap, but we will face it head on. Therefore, I shall pick a movie, but I will use this opportunity for the community and our village to be heard. For the next week, please submit your choice, and I will pick one of your suggestions. You can send us an email, a voicemail, or a message over social media with any reasoning or persuasion that you would like to influence my pick. I yield my time.
Somehow, Proto has once again turned this around to, it's like a sleight of hand trick. Proto's been, using one of those magician books, reading them, practicing at home. Podcast magician. I thought we were going to get a legit pick.
So did I.
He was going to.
He flipped it again.
Choose.
You are.
Run.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to pick it.
That's cool.
Or what was the other one? Thief.
Now we're going to end up with Dark Knight Rises or something.
If so help me God, if we have to watch The Dark Knight Rises, you kidding me?
If that's what
Batman
the villagers
heals
want.
a broken back in 3 weeks and swims to Gotham over the course of 2 days from Saudi Arabia, wherever he was.
Listen.
It doesn't make any sense.
Listen, on this show, we've done a randomized pick, and we ended up with The Fast and the Furious. We did a voting a pick that, let's just be honest, a lot of people were upset with. They felt deceived. This time, we're going to let someone come up to the plate and by their own merit, by their own convincing persuasion of their words, they're going to get to pick the movie. Somebody is going to come out of this happy.
But you're picking it. Is that right? You're still picking.
It.
So if you get 20 picks, you're picking one of those 20 picks.
I'm picking one of those.
Okay.
With one caveat.
Oh.
Can't be a Tom Cruise movie. Can't be a Tom. Listen to everyone right now. Can't be a Tom Cruise movie.
Yeah, 2 rules. It can't be a
stake.
Tom Cruise movie. It obviously can't be a movie we already picked. But one caveat is there is a movie I'm thinking of.
Oh.
And if someone picks this movie, I will choose it outright. That's a long shot, but
is that a caveat? It's just like a mysterious statement of potentially choosing a movie.
I'm going to entrust our producer Dale with that pick so that he can confirm if someone picks it.
He's got like the envelope above his head, like Carson.
Yeah.
He's reading your
He's
pick.
got it right now. Yeah.
Carson Daly?
God. I was just envisioning a promotion for this 1 week long voting period of like Danny drawing you like he drew Penny Marshall, and it's cracking me up. Oh boy. What else, Danny, did you watch anything else this week?
Oh yes. I watched one of my favorite sci-fi movies of all time, Contact.
Oh, God bless.
And it's one I would love to do on this show down the road. I don't know if you've seen it, Proto. Have you seen it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. It's one of those movies that it's one of the most rewatchable sci-fi movies for me. Every time I see it, it makes me very inspired. Jodie Foster is so good in this movie. I love the story so much. I love Matthew McConaughey in this movie. The supporting cast around her is also fantastic. There's just something about this movie that will forever hold up, and I will put it on once or twice a year. This is the first time I've watched it where I've had Letterboxd, so it was nice to finally just put that on there. And I love Contact. It's a movie everyone needs to see if they claim to like any sort of sci-fi movies.
What about that conversation that happens towards the end of that movie?
All the conversations.
Oh my word.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, that's not
James Woods. Is this one of James Woods, even though he's a
Swear to
scumbag in
God.
real life? He's so good in this movie as a scumbag.
Is he a scumbag in real life?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Don't go to his social media presence.
Oh, Lord.
But
He plays another punchable character in this
super punchable.
I love Contact. And then because we were watching The Mummy this week, I wanted to jump into The Mummy by the one Tom Cruise. Now, we won't jump into it too much because it's Tom. But that is a very bad movie. And that's where I'll leave it. It's very bad.
I think Danny and I had a very deep conversation during Apex Legends one night recently after he got done watching The Mummy. You know?
It's frustratingly bad, especially with that cast. Well, one person could be replaced, but it's frustrating how bad that movie is, especially when they're trying to kick off that universe. Like that was the kickoff. And it's
you had a lot of comments in your Letterboxd review that we should perhaps do Gladiator. On.
Are you kidding me? Get out of here.
I wonder. I got some wheels in motion. I wonder if that maybe is Proto's mystery pick.
What?
I swear to God.
Wait, I was kind of confused by your comment. Danny, are you saying you don't like Gladiator?
I liked it the first time I saw it, and then I hated it after everybody talked about it for 17 years. And I
influenced.
Yeah, I just never want to see that movie again. I don't even really like Russell Crowe anymore. He plays these dumbass roles, especially in The Mummy. How
about the music in Gladiator? Who did the music? That gal? That had a hot soundtrack.
I don't remember because I don't want to.
Enya?
Is it? That's not Enya. Is it?
Somebody.
Wait.
I don't remember. We'll get the producer on it.
Dale?
We'll get it for our Gladiator episode.
I saw a trailer for a new Russell Crowe movie, and I couldn't even believe what I was watching. Where it's like road rage.
Are you kidding me?
Did you see that trailer?
It was like the Madman or something. You saw that, right, Matt?
No, I don't.
He literally has road rage with this chick, and then he stalks her for like the rest of the movie.
Ugh. He needs to wake
He's
up a
probably
little
still
bit.
playing Jekyll from The Mummy.
I don't know why he's making all these movies. He used to be like the hottest S for a period of time, and he's making these rando movies. Maybe just go relax on your beach house. You know, shave your beard.
Relax, Russell.
Remember the snot on his wife's feet in Gladiator?
Yeah,
I could never forget that.
I mean, have you ever grieved on your burning dead wife's feet? You know,
not yet.
That's what happens. You start sobbing on her crispy feet, and your boogies get attached.
Fire up the lighthouse, and I'll let you know.
Wait, was that before Signs? Because that might have been like my first Joaquin viewing. Well, other than like his younger stuff, wasn't that like his first?
To be before
big
Signs.
I
movie?
believe that was pre-Signs.
Yeah.
God, he was good in that movie.
Yeah.
Proto, what's your rating? If you had to give an H rating, host of Dune Pod, instant review. If you had to give a rating on Contact, what would it be?
Contact? Oh, man. At least 4 stars. The ending of that movie blew my mind when I first saw it. Mm-hmm. Kind of rocked my world where a movie that leaves you without the satisfying conclusion or clear ending. That was one of the movies like early on that like gave me that. And it was like, oh my God, like, what just happened?
I think I've said it on this podcast or other ones, but I think my first 2 DVDs that I've ever owned on my GE DVD player that would overheat was Austin Powers and Contact. Used to play those things all the time.
I came in a combo pack.
And actually, I think there used to be, so we had a VCR on our TV, and I think only a certain amount of inputs to connect it. So I used to have to connect the DVD player to the RCA inputs on the VHS player. And certain DVD players thought you were trying to make copies of DVDs. So it would like do this like black line down the viewing. So this was like early on. I was like, sorry guys, I don't know what's going on with this black line. Try to get like a DVD viewing for the whole family. Proto, did you watch anything else this week?
I did. I watched The King of Comedy, which I was a little nervous going into because everyone knows I'm a big fan of Joker, and I had heard things.
Won't hold it against you.
A lot of people saying that maybe the Joker is a ripoff of The King of Comedy, just taking it. But I after watching it, I found that I can love both of these movies at the same time. King of Comedy is great. I haven't seen I think only in the past year I've seen some of De Niro's earlier stuff. And man, he is just so good. He's so good in this movie as Rupert Pumpkin. Yeah, a great movie. And the comparison to Joker, I thought that like the King of Comedy is more is more centered around like of what's going on, of him, of the plot that he has of getting on the show, whereas the Joker felt more character driven, really about the character itself. And there's a ton of similarities. I guess you could say that like at the most I would say this is probably like it could be like considered a spiritual remake because there's enough that's different about it. But yeah, I think you could definitely say Joker is inspired by this movie because there's a lot of similarities, especially like the fantasy stuff where they both have fantasies. Rupert's is more overt where it's fantasies, whereas the Joker stuff, it's more subtle. But yeah, De Niro is great. And then
Jerry Lewis,
man. I don't know if I've ever seen him before in a movie. Man, he's dynamite.
So good. So good. How about the shorts? His golf shorts?
The golf shorts. Where can I get those? Is there an auction going for his Jerry Lewis's golf shorts?
His 7-inch golf shorts, whatever the inseam is. It's the shortest thing I've ever seen. Yeah, I love that movie. I'd be curious what your view of the two movies if you had seen King of Comedy before Joker. But
yeah,
we'll never know. It's a story for another day. Before we get into maybe a movie I saw real quick, we mentioned Letterboxd. It's our favorite social media site. We follow each other. We write reviews. We rate movies. We can see what our favorite movies are. And it's like a movie diary. And it's free to use, great social site. But if you use a pro account, you can have ads taken away. You can sort your viewing history, your life in film. A lot of sorting options, which are great. So if you share this show on social media and tag us, you're entered to win a year of Letterboxd Pro. And this week's winner, Tom Smith at Tamantula on Twitter, just won a year of Letterboxd Pro. Congratulations, Tom.
Congrats,
Tom.
So I watched Ready or Not on HBO Max this past week. A lot of internet buzz on that movie. Posters, that gal in the wedding dress with like a axe or something, ready to kill somebody. I was pretty bummed out. It wasn't that good. With all due respect to Ian, former show producer, now host of a mega hit podcast for a movie company. He gave it like 5 stars, I think. I gave it 2.5.
Oh my.
Yeah. I also watched a movie called Life Force from Tobe Hooper, famed alleged director of the Poltergeist movie. And I'd never heard of this movie, but the original title of this movie, the book, is called The Space Vampires. So that's all you need to know about that movie right now. Yeah. That is correct, my friend. A lot of nudity. Don't watch it if you have kids around. Otherwise, you'll be pausing it constantly and putting on Bob's Burgers instead.
Did you say alleged director of Poltergeist?
Yeah, there's whispers that Steven Spielberg actually directed most or all of Poltergeist because apparently Tobe Hooper was like drunk or addicted to something while filming and was like not present for the majority of filming Poltergeist. Yeah, that's like a sort of urban legend that has grown over time.
Can you get Steven on the horn to clear this up?
Yeah. All right, it's time. The Mummy. Brendan Fraser, famed director Stephen Sommers, from such classics as The Mummy Returns, G.I. Joe, and what else has he got? Van Helsing. He knew how to hit home runs. Okay, let's get into it, Proto, please.
The Mummy is only the beginning. Egyptian high priest Imhotep and Akhenamun, the mistress of the pharaoh, are forbidden lovers. When the pharaoh discovers them, they kill the pharaoh, but pay the ultimate price. Akhenamun kills herself and Imhotep is sentenced to a fate worse than death, the Omdai, a curse of undeath. For 3,000 years he lies in Hamunaptra, the forgotten city of the dead, until a team of archaeologists and treasure hunters stumble upon his resting place and let him loose upon the world. Seeking to resurrect Oxanamun and restore his strength, he hunts those that opened his sarcophagus and the human sacrifice that he requires. The adventurers race to find answers and break the curse before the world is forever plunged into chaos.
Mm. Well done. Do you have those spelled out phonetically in your notes? Be honest with me.
I did, yeah. I went to Wikipedia. Actually, I think IMDb and Wikipedia they have like a different spelling of it.
Interesting. I don't mean to start off two big episodes in a row, regular episodes talking about a man's hair, but Brendan Fraser's hair in this movie, it's Oscar worthy. Can we be honest with each other right now? He almost looked like, I said this is kind of the opposite, but he looked like he had the hair from what's his face in Treasure Planet.
Right? Oh yeah.
I said it didn't work there, but it worked here for some reason.
Yeah, it shouldn't be capable, really, what his hair is doing in this movie. Like, does it have tendons in there? The joints holding that hair in line?
It's amazing what millions of dollars can do for you.
Good heavens. Full disclosure, we tried to get Brendan on this show. We couldn't make it happen. You know, there was a communication breakdown with his people. His Instagram is maybe his, I don't know, but it's a hoot if you look at it. I've seen this movie a ton of times over the course of my life. Mm-hmm. I feel like maybe everyone has. I don't know. Proto, how many times have you seen this movie?
I was trying to figure that out. I feel like I've seen it 10 times. I can't remember when, but this is like one of those movies I feel like I watched all the time when I was younger. Just all the time with my siblings. I must have, because I've definitely seen it a handful of times. I think it was like one of those movies we would just throw on, or if it was on the TV, you would just like leave it on and you would watch parts of it. So I feel like I've seen it so many times.
Danny, what about you?
Yeah, a ton. I mean, it's one of those movies when in the comic book store, we would just throw on to have in the background because it's ridiculous and it's awesome. And everyone loves this movie. I mean, I don't know anybody that really doesn't like this movie. So it would just stop people in their tracks to watch it in the shop.
Yeah, I'm looking at my Letterboxd friends list, and everyone's at least 3 stars, and there's nobody that dislikes it that I'm aware of. I'd be interested to have, like, on Box Office Mojo or whatever sites kind of track popularity, I'd be interested to know what, like, TV rights some of these movies had, because if this had, like, a TNT contract for, like, 5 years or whatever, and that's where we all watched it over and over again, I mean, I wonder how much that contributed to, like, the quote mind share of these movies, because I don't know if we had a VHS of this movie, but I also feel like I saw this hundreds of times on TV or whatever channel it was, USA or something. I don't know.
This is definitely a USA movie.
Nowadays, like when I go over to my in-laws and they have movies on, those movies are like 4 hours with commercials. Like this would be like a 4.5 hour movie on TV. Steven Sommers directed this movie.
Who?
This guy, was his career catapulted by this movie? He did Deep Rising before this. You ever seen that movie? That cult horror movie? He did Mummy Returns.
I was thinking Deep Impact. I was about to make an Armageddon joke.
Obviously the better of the two movies.
I agree.
When you compare to Armageddon doesn't even come close. It's not even up for a debate, so don't even bother writing us about any comments about how...
All voicemails will be deleted.
Instant delete. I have a filter set up. Van Helsing. Have you ever seen Van Helsing with Hugh Jackman?
I refuse to watch that movie.
That movie is not great.
Okay, so me and my best friend growing up, to this day, I still cannot tell you why, but we had a fascination with 2 movies. One was The Wedding Planner starring Matthew McConaughey and Jennifer Lopez.
Great movie.
And the other one was Van Helsing. And we would watch these movies all the time. I'm not really sure why, but yeah, I've seen Van Helsing a ton of times.
I remember the CGI in Van Helsing being atrocious in that movie, like horrifyingly bad. And if I remember correctly, they had a video game tie-in to Van Helsing too that I played a lot, but just very bad. No one talks about Van Helsing anymore. You know,
there's a reason.
Speaking of CGI,
Yeah.
what did you guys think? Coming back to this movie after not seeing it for a while, what did you think of the CGI?
Oh, it does not hold up.
No.
It is the low point of this movie, is the CGI for sure. But it is interesting when I watched the making of ILM this was a big part of their jumping off with motion capture. And they have done it before, but this was the guy that plays, I can never remember his name, the guy that plays the mummy, or Emotep.
Like Arnold Voos or something.
Yes.
I just had it.
He does
like
all the motion capture for it, for all the scenes. So he's in the suit. He's doing the scenes in the crypt, the walking around, the kissing people on the face, and he's still doing it. So it's actually impressive what they did to make it. Now, watching it in 2020, it's not good. It's not good. But the fact that this is a movie that doesn't take itself serious, it kind of is fine. Like it's a silly movie to begin with, so the silly CGI doesn't really mess anything up for me.
Yeah, Arnold Vosloo, I think his name is. This guy always plays annoying characters in movies I've seen. Like Hard Target, he plays like the annoying like number one for the bad guy, Lance Henriksen. I think he's also plays Darkman in Darkman 2 with his face also messed up. Some really rough CGI. I remember at the time this being trumped up like, whoa, look at this mummy shot. Like that big reveal when he's walking for the first time as the mummy alive in front of Evelyn, Rachel Weisz. I remember that reveal was like big. Like, look at this CGI character, all CGI. This is the future right here. Mm-hmm. But man, it doesn't hold up. The one thing that does hold up, I think, is in the final act where Evelyn is tied down and Brendan Fraser has to fight off like 10 mummies with that sword. I think that looks really good, actually. And he's like cutting people in half. So I don't know if they use like real people and they CGI'd in his knife to make it look that, but that looked like that looked timeless in my opinion.
He literally fights nobody in the making of. He's swinging at nothing. He's hitting nobody. There's no stunt doubles. They choreograph it with him, but when he's filming it, it's literally him hitting nothing, it makes his performance that much more brilliant.
They should have made whatever team was in charge of those mummies should have done the other mummies. Like that must have been like the A team, and they spent all their time on that because that looked really good. I think.
Yeah, and what is even more jarring is they actually have people dressed as mummies through one of the best sections of the movies, and it's not CG characters. So it's funny because it makes the CG look even worse when you get the live action people.
Yeah, and this movie, it's so aggressive with the CGI. There's so much of it throughout the whole thing, and even it starts with it. And it's clearly CGI, like the whole city. It looks like a bad video game at this point.
Okay.
The funny part was like that overview shot of the moving shot. For whatever reason, I zeroed in on someone walking, and it looked like a Lego character walking on screen. Like this is trash CGI.
Yeah.
But then when
it
you
looks
look
like Roblox,
if you look 2 feet over, I see like real people walking, or like way better CGI. So, Danny, did you watch the making of for that?
Okay,
scene?
so the funny thing about that is I felt the same way you did, Proto. It felt like it was a bad video game intro. That shot of the city is a 1/8 scale miniature. The only thing CG is the green screen skyline and the addition of people. So that is an actual warehouse shot where they scroll in the camera, and it is a miniature they built at ILM.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I think that when there's a scene where they're like going to Hamanatra with like the priest, Imhotep's going there, and that looked really good. But the thing, I like this era of CGI. It looks bad, but it's like that period where they could start to do it where it looked pretty good. And at the time it was like, wow, this is amazing. So it was like, let's just do all of it as much as we can. And now it looks bad. But at the time, it seemed to make sense because all the mummy scenes with him. And then just like all the effects that they do with like his jaw, like pulling down and becoming huge. And then all the scarabs, running about. I love all of it. One thing I was wondering is there's the scene with the sand.
Yeah.
And they're like where he turns into sand. And there's one where he's in the room with with Evie, and then Brendan brings in the cat, and then he turns into the sand storm and goes out through the window and it shuts. And then I was thinking, wait, did they just like reverse the film on that, or was that all CGI? Because it almost looks like they could have just like blown those open and like pushed like, 20 pounds of sand through the window and then just like reverse the shot.
Reverse them out. Yeah, they probably did that. I don't know. I don't remember them showing that.
I also thought it was hilarious that he took the time to turn into sand and go through a keyhole to enter the room. Like, he's this all-powerful mummy pharaoh wizard, and that's how he decides to enter a room, this slow-ass sand entrance.
I love
like,
that
use
shot
some
so
of your
much,
powers.
though. I love it so much. It's so cheesy, but it's great.
Well, also, like, why does he want to kiss her? Like, it's not Oksana Moon, right? He's going to use her as a sacrifice, but at the beginning you think that like maybe he thinks she's her. That kind of like, you're like, what is going on? Like, why is he so like delicate with her to begin with?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't remember why he decides to pseudo seduce her in several scenes. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense unless he's just, he's been locked up for a long time.
I mean, it's Rachel Weisz, so.
That's true. She looked amazing in this movie. Oh, just stunning. Her hair, I mean,
the scene when Brendan finally notices her, when she walks up with that veil and he finally notices her beauty.
Yeah. Kidding me?
I was like, excuse me?
It's funny. When I was writing the plot and these characters, I feel like are very simple. Brendan Fraser's character, this tough guy. Rachel plays almost like a librarian, like a literal mousy librarian who doesn't get out much and is like looking for adventure. But it didn't bother me that much. Like, it was so cliched that it still worked because the acting was so well done, and it didn't bother me. Like, because she gets a chance to shine in the middle of the movie where she can use her extensive knowledge and outshines Brendan Fraser a lot in those scenes. And he just like visibly on purpose takes a back seat so that she can stretch her legs as a character and show her intelligence. And I thought that worked really well in this. The other thing that I thought of while watching it, like, this is such a blockbuster. Like, it's almost like it's so good it feels manufactured. Like, this is like, obviously it turned into a ride in Universal, but everything about this movie, this feels like Pirates of the Caribbean before that became a thing.
I was just going to say that. Yes.
And it works so well. Like, it shouldn't work, but they created something that had legs and that had, IP across so many other things. And that's hard to do. I mean, I feel like it didn't happen again until something like Pirates of the Caribbean.
I also thought with this movie that as I was watching it, it had it gave me Indiana Jones vibes, where almost like if Harrison Ford was Brendan's character, and of course it was, told as an Indiana Jones story, it could have been an Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah. Danny, how do you compare this to Indiana Jones?
Honestly, I put it right up there with it. It fits that action adventure movie mold perfectly. It doesn't attempt to reinvent the wheel. It's exactly what it needs to be for this movie. And I think Brendan pulls it off very well. He pulls off now I am a sucker for any treasure hunting adventure movie, anything. I am all in when that kind of happens. So I'm already in to this movie 100% when it comes out or whenever I watch it. But I will easily put it up there with the Indiana Jones movies. As much as I love it, as much fun as it is, as much as I enjoy the characters and the world building, and I don't know about world building, but that kind of story with the movie monster and to me it's just as good.
Can you imagine if I know they made a sequel and then another sequel like 9 years after that, but can you imagine them deciding not to just follow the Mummy mold and just have this family become a globe-trotting, adventure-seeking family? I mean, that's a license to print money. Like, instead of the Mummy Returns, do like them going to Africa or something and searching some. Yeah, oh my God. Those movies.
Or just maybe going after the rest of the Universal monsters.
Oh my God. Yeah. Are you kidding me?
Brendan.
This could have been the Dark Universe.
Oh, God.
Next, him and Rachel go after
Frankenstein, Dracula. The werewolf. Oh, my God. Those movies would have made so much money so long as they keep Stephen Summers away from them. They would have made so much money.
Yeah, I love Brendan Fraser. Mm-hmm. I love him in this. To me, he's funny by default.
Yeah.
He has just his eyes, the way he looks, the way he delivers, like everything about him, his physicality is just funny. His line delivery, everything is just so perfect. And then one of my favorite characters is Benny. Man, those two side by side is just like a dynamic duo of comedy. Man, so perfect. And when this movie isn't action packed, it's a comedy that's hilarious with either a lot of physical comedy, somebody's getting punched in the face. The scene where he throws the chair at Benny as he's trying to run out of the room. Oh man, they have so many great moments in this.
Did Benny return in The Mummy Returns, or was he dead officially?
No one knows. No one saw that movie.
But can you imagine like them meeting Dracula and then Benny becomes the like helper of Dracula?
Gosh, that'd be amazing.
My God.
Holy crap.
Like what was going on in those Universal meetings? You just blew it so hard, dude.
I don't remember. God. I know Rachel's in it. They have a kid. Her brother's in it again. That's about as much as I know as Returns.
Jeez. It's just written in the stars right there. Benny was an amazing character. I thought the guy who was in charge of hanging Brendan to start the movie was also a great character actor. When they were like negotiating, Rachel kind of like freeing him.
He knows the location to Hammond Aptra.
You lie.
I would never.
Are you telling me this filthy, godless son of a pig knows where to find the city of the dead?
Yes.
Truly?
Yes. And if you cut him down, we will give you 10%.
50%.
20.
40.
30.
25.
Deal.
How about when like they ask him if he has any last requests and he says to like get me out of this noose and the guy is like, oh wait a minute, no one's ever actually asked that as their last request, so he didn't know what to do.
I like that they actually hang him and he can't.
Yeah, family movie.
His neck. Like, oh, he's got to suffocate, I guess.
That was pretty intense. I wrote that too. I was like, is this a family movie? He's hanging there. You know, he doesn't get his neck broken for like 40 seconds. The boat scene, you know, where they meet the other adventurers is an amazing set piece. A lot of laughs. What are the chances, maybe I missed a line, but what are the chances that those adventurers are also going to the same place they are at the same exact time? Was that explained? Or is it just happenstance?
They know O'Connell. So I think they were a part of something before with him. So I think they know they both are going after it.
The scene where Brennan gives her a gift. Remember his like tool, like this little mini tool set, and he is like really embarrassed and shy. And then the big dude is like watching him flail around trying to give her this gift. And they lock eyes after that. An amazing scene also.
I love the scene where you first see Evie and she's in the library and she knocks over all the bookcases. And then the other librarian comes in total shock as to like what happened in there. And that's like an amazing scene. Like I was just laughing so hard. Just the look on his face as he's just like wandering around looking at all these bookcases that have been knocked over, like in complete shock.
Oops. What? Look at this! Sons of the Pharaoh! Give me from...
There's so many small parts in this movie and it feels like everybody hits it perfect.
Yeah, amazing. That's an amazing, like almost slapstickish scene. Her like balancing on that bookcase ladder for 10 seconds, trying not to fall. So
oh my
funny.
gosh.
Yeah, one of my other notes was the world of the Mummy is great. It almost feels very manufactured, but was successful somehow. The dude's eyes, that guy gets his eyes tore out.
Oh.
And then his tongue too. Gross.
Poor guy.
That guy's life is over. If he didn't.
And then he sat there blindfolded.
Oh yeah.
God, when Benji or Benny.
Oh
Jeez.
my God, brutal.
That was a scary scene too. That was a good scene where he's walking in the crypt and it's quiet and he's got the gun out, but he can't see anything. And you hear like the growling of the mummy. That's a great shot scene.
I love that scene in the crypt where Benny is the mummy confronts him, and then he's just pulling out all the necklaces and like saying prayers in every religion that he knows.
Protect and watch over me, as a shepherd watches over his flock. يا إلهي سيبني أعيش خافني.求求菩萨帮我，求求不能帮我。
Oh, that's a great scene. I love that pilot too. I love
Oh, yeah.
him just wanting to go on one more adventure. The shot of him sitting in the desert with the gramophone under the umbrella. And when that conversation they have, I forget the line that Brennan delivers. He's like, action, adventure, damsel in distress, or chances of living. And that's such a funny scene, but I love that pilot so much.
I love the pilot's first scene where he's in the bar and he steps in the fountain. He's like, bloody idiot spilled his drink. The whirlwind scene, I love. Benny has so many good lines in this, like everything that comes out of his mouth, and like his voice, like oh, and he comes out of the whirlwind and he's like, I need a new job.
Yeah, they really knocked it out of the park with casting in this movie. Like literally every actor did so well in this movie with the lines they had, and just they were perfect up and down. Yeah, we're kind of like all over the place, but I think everyone kind of knows the plot of this movie pretty much. You know, they seek out these items, they find some of them. The Vazlu, the mummy, comes after them, and they have this big battle. And I feel like there was also a video game for this movie too, maybe, that I played. I'm not sure, because I remember bits and pieces of this movie as if I played them in a video game. But yeah, there's a ton of other great shots before, they defeat the mummy. And like I mentioned, that mummy fight scene, he brings up the corpse of his bride or lover from the past so that he can resurrect her. And then she like starts moving around next to Rachel as she's tied up in a creepy moment.
Oh.
Like I'd be crapping my pants if that corpse started moving around and like yelling at me while I was tied down.
I remember being terrified of that scene where the mummy is trying to stab Evie, like chasing her with the knife.
Oh yeah.
And then even the other soldiers with the scimitar blades just running after Brendan. I was just like, Brendan, you're going to get it, man. Those dudes are fast. Yeah, I think, yeah, that's maybe, I think, like the best CGI in the movie. Like you were saying earlier, Slim, that fight scene with Brendan is so good. Like just all the combat in there. It feels like he's actually hitting stuff. It doesn't feel empty.
Yeah, there's also great like slapstick moments with that fight too, where he's cutting I think the last one he hits, he kind of snaps the head and it spins around, like it makes a funny noise, and then he knocks it straight at the camera. Like that scene's amazing. But one thing, when we talk about terrifying or whatever, I always had nightmares of those damn scarabs. Those things gave me the creeps so much as a kid, getting under my skin. I hated those scenes, especially when it first gets under the warden, get on his chest and it's going up his face. And then when the brother finally gets it on the arm, I'm like, oh no, you're done for. And then he cuts it out of him. I'm like, yes. And it's funny because the ride here in Orlando, I don't know if the mummy's anywhere else. Easily the worst part of the movie for me is those scarabs. So on the ride, there's a part, because it's not just a roller coaster. It stops in scenes and then drops around. And there's a scene where it stops and all the scarabs come crawling out of the wall and the lights go out. God. And you hear them like hitting your car, and then it like whips your legs with these like hoses, and it feels like they're all over you. And then it just drops back, and it just gives me a nightmare.
I'm glad I never did that ride. I waited outside for Amanda and James to do that one.
It's okay. No one waits for it anymore.
Did you ever, what did you think of the Harry Potter animatronic one, the Gringotts one? Do you like that one?
Gringotts. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's fantastic. One thing I feel like is getting overused a little bit is 3D on rides. So I don't want to wear glasses and stuff on roller coasters just because it's a 3D scene. So, I'm glad Newer stuff is not using that anymore. I don't want to spoil other rides that have come out since. But Gringotts is fantastic.
Have you or have not been to Disney or Universal? I can't remember.
I have not been to either.
Should we do our first 70 millimeter summit in Orlando, Florida?
My God.
Go to Universal and Walt Disney World.
Wow. I'm looking at
without your families.
I'm looking at the Mummy video game footage right now.
Uh-oh.
This was a PlayStation 1 game.
Oh my.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in 2000. It looks horrendous. It's like worse than Tomb Raider. The original Tomb Raider.
Oh my God. How's his hair look? How's his polygonal hair? Rocking.
It's like in the shape of it's in the shape of a trapezoid.
I hope there's a making of with the team that created his trapezoidal hair in that game.
Oh my
gosh. The scarab scene, I remember also being freaked out forever by scarab, beetles, whatever, mainly because of this movie. Maybe I just thought it was their thing to nestle under your skin and eat you alive. But the scene where he cuts his shoulder and flicks that thing out, there's no fallout of him cutting open his shoulder. Yeah. It's almost as if he just like flicked it off his arm. There's no blood. He's not bandaged up. I mean, you got to have a gash on your arm.
On top of a bug crawling from your hand to your shoulder. Nothing else was wrong with his arm.
Your arm is not usable probably for the rest of your life after that. Rest in peace, tendons.
The internal bleeding that would be throughout his body.
Yeah, because it's just like eating straight up him.
Ugh, gross. Yeah, they eventually defeat the mummy and they ride off into the sunset. Benny reaches an unfortunate, quote, death. I can't remember if he comes back in Mummy Returns or the Jet Li one. But they ride off into the sunset and they actually have some of the treasure still in the satchel of that horse or were they riding?
Thanks to Benny, because he was stealing it.
God bless him. You know? That's the mummy. A lot of fun. Did we miss any other fun moments?
The only thing I thought was funny was how the Benny puts the treasure on a random lever inside of there, and that's what initiates the whole city to implode, and not only implode, but go up like 500 feet into the air multiple times and topple over each other. I was like, first of all, what is the engineering that's going on here to make this possible? But it looks cool.
I was going to ask Proto, how do you think they built the pyramids?
What's
your view on the pyramid
building? This is a
building?
topic of discussion here.
You guys are the ones to answer that question. It's out of my realm of expertise.
You can't tell me they had the tools to cut those stones.
You're
the
telling me
size
humans?
And girth of those stones? No, not by human hands. There was another civilization on this earth.
Anyone that thinks the pyramids were built by human beings, unsubscribe from this podcast right now. Email us in your thoughts on who built the pyramids or what built the pyramids for next week's show. Sorry, go ahead, Danny.
What was I saying? I love the, I don't know what you would call them, like the Masons version of guarding the city, that guy that kind of teams up with them at the end. And then it ends up, this is kind of what I feel like is lifted from Indiana Jones, which is the librarian was all in on it as well. He was keeping it a secret as well. But I love that. I love that crew. I want those tattoos under my eyes.
It makes me really want to watch Last Crusade again.
Is that Villagers? You want to watch an Indiana Jones movie?
Oh my gosh.
Are we going to persuade them now?
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Was that Pro's pick? Is that going to be the Insta pick?
Dale?
The mystery one. Dale, can you give us a sign in the studio back there?
Dale, you promised.
Boy, howdy. I think Mummy is a very fun movie.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't rate this 4 stars. I'd probably give this 3.5 stars. The performances of the cast is just so rock solid for me. Everyone is having so much fun and everyone does so well. So this is a 3.5 star movie for me, I think.
Yeah, I think I have a 3 on there on Letterboxd. It's a 3 to 4 star movie. It's not a 5 banger, but it's a fun movie.
Yeah, I'd give this 4 stars. To me, it's the quintessential action blockbuster that doesn't disappoint in any way. Yeah, like it's a little dated now, but it's a movie that I've seen so many times and I loved watching it again.
Golly, I was not expecting a 4-star banger from Proto, but I welcome it and I appreciate it.
I'm in a good mood.
Just a reminder, Proto revealed his thoughts earlier for his pick episode. The call is on you to make a request on social media, on Twitter, Instagram, our Slack, email, voicemail. Let us know what you want Proto to choose, and maybe he'll choose it.
I was going to say, please keep requests under 1,000 words.
Under 90 seconds if it's a voicemail, that would be ideal. You can leave us a voicemail 267-409-6983 or write us a letter at 70mmpod@gmail.com, or you can send an audio file to that address as well. And first, I have to apologize to a friend of the show, Jonesy Loves Beer. I missed a voicemail he sent us on April 24th, I believe. So let's get into that voicemail that I unfortunately missed.
What's up, 70 men? It's Jonesy-atrix Love Burks. And I just want to congratulate you on a great Dune episode. Thank you for watching that film so I never have to. And on your follow-up episode, a wonderful look back at the Fast and the Furious, there's 3 things I have for you. One for Slim. I can remember our slang lexicon after this movie came out, and there was a lot of cops. And I think more notably, you will often regale us with, Dom, I'm so scared right now. And for you, Danny, I can only imagine you in your BMW Z3 leading a Regal after a midnight showing of this movie, and absolutely like pretending you were the crossover of some 007 Fast and Furious fanfic where you were racing through the streets home. And Proto, you don't like much, but I will say your voice, the joy in your voice was palpable when speaking of the final scene where Dom and Dom's friend Brian go for a quarter-mile race across the train track. You can hear the smile in your voice. Wonderful episode. Goodbye.
Thank you, Jonesy.
Thank you, Jonesy.
Blast from the past.
Google Voice read Jonesy Loves Beer as Patrick's of Burks. So
close enough.
Nailed it. All right, next voicemail.
How's it going, guys? This is Sean from Colorado. Hope all is going well during these pretty intense times. Just want to say real quick, this week's movie, The Mummy, with Brendan Fraser, fantastic. I know that a couple of you guys have already seen my review on Letterboxd. Love going back and watching this movie. Brendan Fraser, always a great time to watch. The movie itself, like I said in my review, kicked off the start to a good franchise, and also a really great ride at Universal Studios. But I propose a challenge. Which version of The Mummy do each of you enjoy better? Brendan Fraser's version or Tom Cruise's version?
Sean, please.
And I would say there should be a vote put up. And if Brendan Fraser's version wins, then you guys review Encino Man. And if Tom Cruise's version wins, then you review Minority Report. Both two really great movies. But anyways, just want to make it short. Just say, love that you guys are keeping the show going on. Hope you guys are doing great. And thanks again for another week. And we are definitely looking forward to, I believe, Jaws coming up after this. All right, guys, take it easy. Stay safe, stay healthy. I'll talk to you guys again. Bye.
Sean from Colorado trying to build some kind of tension between the three of us. Listen, let's just talk about Encino Man. That has a more likelihood of us covering in the future I think we even jokingly talked about potentially doing it.
We definitely did.
Didn't we?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, man, I love Brendan Fraser. And my wife, Jenna, I told her, I was watching The Mummy, Brendan Fraser, and she said, whatever happened to Brendan? And that's a good question. What did happen to him?
He, the first movie I think I ever saw him in was School Ties. Remember that movie?
No.
Oh my gosh.
I think Encino Man was the first movie I saw of his.
He plays this kid going to a 1950s school and he's Jewish and he keeps it a secret. And then his like friends find out and he gets like hazed.
What?
Yeah, it's an amazing movie. Rocked my world when I was a kid. Matt,
Interesting.
I'm looking at the cast right now. Listen to this cast of that movie. Matt Damon, Chris O'Donnell, Ben Affleck, Cole Hauser, and the rest. Those are his classmates in that movie. Nobody talks about that movie.
And he's the lead?
Yeah.
How about that?
I'd love to rewatch that movie. It's amazing. But yeah, I don't know what happened to Brendan. He seems like a quirky dude.
He went out on top,
He did go out on top.
Is he like a Rick Moranis type deal?
No.
No.
I don't think so.
Let me look at his, he was in, not the Crash we almost did, but he's in the Crash that won the Academy Award. George of the Jungle.
Oh, I definitely saw George of the Jungle.
Airheads, remember that movie?
My sister and I quoted George of the Jungle when he eats all that coffee. Java, 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 Java.
Monkey Bone he was in it with Chris Kattan.
Oh, Lord.
Let me see what his most
His
recent...
Maybe he did go out on top.
His movie Blast from the Past was a movie that it was one of my dad's favorite movies. I watched that movie so many times. Him and Christopher Walken.
Oh, my.
Oh.
It's a movie where they think that the nuclear holocaust happened. So they go into their bunker for like 50 years and then come out in the year like 2000. And Brendan has to try to adjust.
I may have seen that.
Alicia Silverstone is in that movie. You kidding me right now? Holy moly. All right, thanks for the voicemail, Sean.
Sean, we can't do Tom Cruise movies.
Sean, you know the bylaws by now. Interview with the Podcast Vampire. Check it out.
The only way we can get Slim on here is we had to make an agreement.
Hey guys, this is very exciting on Twitter. The Mummy, what a fun movie that is. Great fast pace. It's kind of unfortunate that Brendan Fraser has disappeared off the face of the earth, as he was so good in that movie. And as I said on Twitter, Rachel Weisz taught me how to be a man. Not in that movie necessarily, but who doesn't love Rachel Weisz? She's amazing. Anyway, good movie, good choice. I can't wait to hear the episode. Thanks. Bye.
She's stunning in The Mummy. Absolutely stunning.
Rachel Weisz in The Favorite? My goodness. Did you watch that yet?
I don't even know what that movie is.
That's with Olivia Cleaver, right?
Let me look her up on Letterboxd to see. Oh, she was in The Lobster? Oh, The Favorite. That one. Yeah, I still haven't seen
Olivia
that.
Colman. My mistake.
I thought you were making a joke.
My God, look at the poster of this movie called Youth. Can you have this on Letterboxd? Holy cow. Not safe for work.
Enemy at the Gates was one of my favorite movies of hers.
Oh.
Baby.
Well, she's in the new...
That's one of my favorite Jude Law movies for sure.
She's in the Black Widow movie that's coming out. Apparently.
So is our girl.
No comment. It's not safe. We don't want to get Danny riled up right now. It's too late at night. Yeah. All right, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more voicemails to get to. Let's get him cooking.
Hello, this is Dirk Feelgood, calling in to 70mm Pod. How are you guys doing? Are you all right? Could I ask a favour? Could I reach out to the VHS villagers, to the village universe, if you will, and ask that they search my name on the interwebs, Dirk Feelgood, find my change.org petition, give it a click. It's for a very good cause. It's to have removed from the history books, to have stricken from all records the diabolical, derogatory diatribe of one Proto Lexus, re Michael Keaton's seminal performance as Batman in the film of the same name, directed by Tim Burton. I'm all for freedom of speech, but some of Proto's comments last week were inflammatory, incendiary, caustic, and downright slanderous. And Danny, I'm with you. Batman Returns is my preferred of the two films, and I would love to listen to a Christmas episode on this. But I worry that Danny DeVito's subtle performance as Oswald Cobblepot will be too nuanced for Proto, and that Michelle Pfeiffer's simmering sexuality as Catwoman will be misinterpreted as simply having sex rather than making love. But maybe I should just believe.
Proto, respond, please.
Dirk, I never miss a sexy cat. That's not something that would fly by on my radar. So I'd pick up on that. And you know what, Dirk? I don't know what to say. I mean, he has me speechless. What are you going to do?
What an amazing voicemail from Dirk. It's up to the listener if they want to sign that petition to have that segment stricken from the record. I don't know how that kind of legality works, but I'll probably have to talk to the VHS Village lawyer team, legal team.
Dirk, you better not write in Frozen 2. Don't you dare.
Next voicemail.
Hey guys, it's Melissa. I just wanted to say that I used to feel the same way about Michael Keaton as Proto does.
Oh my God.
Until I watched Mr. Mom and I realized that he is kind of a comedic genius and his timing is really strange, but also hilarious. So I recommend Mr. Mom. And then also, I might watch The Mummy, but I probably won't because The Mummy was what I saw on my first date I ever had in 8th grade. And it was incredibly painfully awkward and uncomfortable. And I think watching it again might give me the dry heaves. But we'll see if Chuck can convince me. Okay. Anyway, hope you guys are good. Bye.
Thank you.
But have you seen Mr. Mom?
No, I have not.
We knew the answer to that question.
It's you never know.
Listen, I loved Michael Keaton in Birdman.
Oh, gross.
Okay.
What was that movie that I love that I can't remember the title of?
I love Multiplicity.
Multiplicity I've seen. Was it My Life where he's diagnosed with like cancer? Do you remember that movie? And
I don't know.
He's
sound
like
very lovable.
He's I think that might be Nicole Kidman and him, but he's in a movie like he finds out that his wife's pregnant and then he gets diagnosed with like terminal cancer. So he's like trying to survive for his child's birth. But the music in that movie is amazing.
I don't want to watch that.
Real joyous movie if you're looking to escape from the depressing life that we live in right now.
What's up, 70mm? It's Lex. Just want to open by thanking you guys for the year of Letterboxd Pro. I really appreciate it. But I come to you shocked, appalled, generally flabbergasted at the comments made in last week's episode by host and spiritual advisor Proto Lexus. I haven't the time necessary to explain in detail why Michael Keaton is the best Batman, but I will say this. Batman Returns also rips. You should totally do a bonus episode about it. And whatever third movie old Timmy Burton had cooking before he got the boot from WB would have ruled as well. But anyway, this week's movie is The Mummy from the year of our Lord, 1999. Yeah, it's fun. Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz, great. CGI certainly has not held up in any way, shape, or form, but it's a nice action romp, and the sets look like they're on Legends of the Hidden Temple, which is always fun. I gave it 3.5 stars, which is my sort of baseline for a movie I would call good without any real major caveats. So, yeah, keep up the good work. Proto, I hope you learn how to have fun one day. And that's it. Bye.
Something I'm noticing is that I'm the only one who came into watching Batman untainted by nostalgia of past viewings as a child. We need an experimental test of someone else who hasn't seen Batman and sees it for the first time in the year 2020. And then we'll see what they say.
You know, I talked about it with my wife. She hadn't seen it, and she wasn't going to listen to the pod until she watches Batman for the first time. Maybe you'll get a voicemail. Someone else on your side, Proto.
Oh my gosh, she could be the test. She could be the one.
All we know is we don't mess with Michael Keaton on this podcast.
That's evident. Yeah.
These villagers.
If you just believe.
Are we having Christmas in July for return?
We might need like an emergency podcast release for Batman Returns. We're not, let's see, how far away? 4 months, 5 months from Batman Returns if we wait? Christmas month in July.
Hey guys, this is Michael, a longtime listener. I just want to give you guys great credit on the fantastic podcast you're doing. I love getting exposed to all these different films and the wide variety you've brought to the audience. I especially love how the guests, when they're on, they bring such joy to the films that have changed them and have shaped their careers and lives. I think it's just a fantastic concept, and I applaud you guys. Getting to tonight's episode, I'm a huge fan of Mr. Fraser. I was so excited when I heard it was going to be on. So I just wanted to let him know this feedback's from Mr. Fraser, that The Mummy, I think he should be incredibly proud of doing a film that is so eminently rewatchable. It is something that brings you pure joy every time you watch it, no matter when you turn it on. And I would like to ask him what it's like to be part of a project like that, and how does he feel about the comparisons to Raiders? I feel it is up there with with Raiders of the Lost Ark. For me, it really captures that same serial spirit. So, I'll take my answer off the air if I can. And thank you guys. And thank you, Mr. Fraser. Good night.
Mike, I'd preferred if you kept the trolling in Proto's direction next time, as to keep with the theme
train rolling
of the show. We'll relay your questions to Brendan's people, of course.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Speaking of Mike D, I believe he does a podcast focused, if you're a runner, I know Proto's stretching his legs every morning, trying to get out there, trying not to break his back and maybe hit the trails for a run. If you're into running, you should check out his podcast, Will Run 4. Look that up in your podcast app of choice. Check it out. Final voicemail. Actually, it's a letter. I'm sorry. Not a voicemail. This comes from Megan. Hello, 70mm Podcast. I am so excited that you're reviewing The Mummy this week. This will always be a 5-star movie for me, if not only for the nostalgia. I was 11 years old when The Mummy was released, and I can remember seeing this movie in theaters and being obsessed with it. My siblings, cousins, and I would quote it constantly. Sure, it's cheesy, but it's a lot of fun, and can we talk about how gorgeous Brendan Fraser is in this film? Anytime I'm flipping through the channels The Mummy's on TV, I will always stop and keep it on the background. I remember being so stoked for the debut of the ride at Universal. Thanks again for choosing this movie. I look forward to your review. P.S. Oh my God, this is a scandalous comment to end the show.
Uh-oh.
I agree 100% with Proto's thoughts on Keaton as Batman. I had never seen Batman 1989 and watched prior to your review. I could not get over how awkward and awful Keaton's performance was. I can't believe I'm reading this, first of all. So that's me talking out of letter.
You can cut this out later.
Yeah, we'll cut this, Danny. Don't worry. An empty shell of a Batman. Sorry, Danny. And that's Megan from Salt Lake City.
Megan, thank you. Thank you for confirming what I just theorized 5 minutes ago.
I should have read hers first and then went into the negative voicemails for Proto.
Let's just replay the voicemails.
Should we go back and replay them all? Let's go to Lex. Let's replay
Let's start with
Lex's.
Lex.
Just a reminder, we did a bonus special episode on Friday of last week. If you're looking for some ways to support ending what's happening in our country, we talked about at the beginning of the Batman episode, obviously blacklivesmatter.com. But if you wanted to buy or rent, rather, Shirley, and support a nonprofit which supports nonfiction cinema by and about communities of color, you can do so in the link in our episode notes. By all means, do that. And use the links that we mentioned in the previous episode as well. Next week, Jaws.
Oh.
We got a special guest lined up.
Very big.
We confirmed it already. This is a real thing. They're not backing out.
Brendan.
What's pause for editing. What is the anniversary? Is it 40 years? 30 years? 50 years since Jaws. Does anybody know?
For Jaws, 45.
45th anniversary. We've timed it exactly to the minute that movie was released.
It's all been leading to this.
It's all been leading to this. I haven't watched this movie in many years, but there's been a 4K re-release. I think our guest has it. There's some other people that we know that have it. Danny, have you gotten your hands on this 4K?
No.
You don't even have 4K.
I have no need for it.
I asked that. You
I don't need
Have you gotten the VHS?
You have the reel. You have the reel in your basement.
Steven gave it to me.
He sent it to you when he got done directing Poltergeist that you knew about. I'm excited for that episode. And just a reminder, Proto needs your vote. He needs your picks. Proto, do you have any last comments for the villagers to support you in any way?
Send them in. Let your heart lead you. Whatever you want to have us talk about, send it in. Send it in.
I wonder if there's going to be a live stream, potentially. Is there any live streams happen in the past or the future that might be cooking up?
There may have been a past live stream where I went over this announcement.
Oh, gosh.
There we go.
Hopefully IG frickin' reminds me that you're going live, instead of me just having to guess and open the app and seeing 70mm live, I even had notifications on.
You can always watch it later on IGTV.
Proto has contacts in IGTV. I don't know how he did it, but we're in there. He made it happen. God bless. Okay, we'll see everybody next week for Jaws. Get watching. It's on HBO Max. It's probably out everywhere. Get the 4K release. We'll see you next week. '78mm is a VHS Village production and produced by Dale_A. Sponsored by Half Double Design. Original artwork provided by Danny Haas. Spiritual guidance provided by Protolexis. This episode was mixed and edited by me, Slim. Special thanks to the good people at Letterboxd, and for a chance to win a pro Letterboxd account, share the show and tag us on social media at 70mm Pod. Goodbye.